Hey everyone, welcome to the Get Rich DFS and NASCAR podcast. My name is Joshua Barzell. I'm joined along with my host Virgil Jeffries. How you doing today, Virgil?
I'm doing good today. Excited to break down the slate today.
Me too, me too. We had a pretty successful Xfinity slate today, so I feel pretty confident we can build on that momentum.
I saw, and I hope that we can do the same in the Cup Series. I think we got some great picks, some good tournament picks. I think we've identified the chalk of the slate. And yeah, would you like to get into the strategy?
Yeah, so obviously, guys, thank God we're out of the doldrums that are the NASCAR DFS super speedways. So we actually get to talk to you guys a little bit about strategy, how practice times are going to factor in, starting position, place differential. Look, with it being a road course and there being only 95 laps, there is not really much in the way of dominator points, but we're able to focus a lot more on the importance of finishing position, place differential, fastest laps, and those kind of statistics. So,
And the big one today is going to be finishing position more than anything else. Place differential if we can get it, but we want to get good road course drivers today. That's the main focus.
yep, yep. No, we're definitely going to be targeting those road course ringers. As you guys know, when we're at ovals, when we're at super speedways, we're gonna want to pick the guys, named Denny Hamlin, named Joey Logano, especially when we see them available at prices like this. You get Denny Hamlin at 7,100, Joey Logano at 7,200. They just flat out, neither of them have it at road courses. It's not their cup of tea. We're gonna be staying away from guys like that.
Yeah, that's what DraftKings would say is a trap.
Yeah, no, there's some trap plays. So looking to start off getting into the slate, Virgil. Are there any plays that catch your eye right off the bat?
Well, let's start off by breaking down this sheet real quick. So, the guys in green on the far left in the A column, those are the drivers that probably going to get a lot of ownership. They're really good at road courses for the most part, and they're a couple of them have some great PD. Actually, I think most of them have great PD except Shane von Giesbergen. And then the yellow plays are more so our tournament picks, like mix them in, but like they're not like the main guys, but like they're the guys that could end up doing really well and the guys that could make a lot of money. So the first pick that I'd like to talk about is William Byron, $10,000 salary, first guy up, and for a good reason. He is fantastic at COTA and road courses in general. I expect the top five at minimum. He's got the speed for it. I mean, his average speed after accounting for the laps is through the charts. A Hendrick Motorsports car, easy top five. What do you think?
Like you said, we have a Hendrick Motorsports car and one of the best drivers in the field on road courses starting 15th. It's like the DFS gods have come down and and gave us this blessing for this slate. Now,
Yeah, but they
don't
put him at a $10,000 price tag.
they did, but good news is they made everyone else cheaper. So I feel like there's not gonna be too much pressure on William Byron. The only advice I'm gonna have to give with him though is that obviously with him starting 15th, first place finish and a top five finish the last 2 years here, I think we're gonna have to maybe cap out our ownership on him just a little bit if we're going for high entry fields, just because his ownership's gonna be through the roof, especially with the place differential and a top five promise. I really don't think there's a much better play overall than Byron, but it's just one of those things where you have to consider your weight versus the field.
Yeah, everybody will be on him, and if you're playing like cash lines, definitely gonna probably have William Byron in almost all like your cash lines. But since we're doing tournaments where you want to take down to get the big money, it's gonna be important to get off of him when you can.
Oh yeah, and speaking of tournaments, we have a guy that's just $500 left, less over here, in Kyle Larson, who I don't know about you, Virgil, but I thought he was the fastest car out there.
Yeah, he looks like the fastest car out there for sure. Hendrick Motorsports car, so not to be surprised. It is a little surprising though to see Kyle Larson piloting that car. Um, the other good thing about Kyle Larson is he's not a typical guy we see show up at road courses. So I feel like a lot of the ownership's going to get pulled by Byron, Giesbergen, and Bell. which I think makes him a pretty interesting tournament pick. I think he'll be lower owned, like he won't be like 10% owned. But I think like maybe like 20%, a little more maybe. Definitely an interesting guy to mix into some lines.
I feel like Larson for sure is going to be one of those top tier tournament plays that we're going to be going after. Now guys, real quick, just so we can touch on it. Um, So there's two very distinctive ways to build your lines, in my opinion, for this slate. Is you can either go for the cash build, watch. I mean, at least for us, it's going to be a lot of these guys in green, like your William Byron, Christopher Bell, Bowen, Busher, Cindric, and a little bit of Riley Herbst down at the bottom here. But it's like those guys are going to be staples of your cash lineup. So whenever you're building cash, do not be afraid to get as much of them as you want. But when you're really going for these tournament plays, trying to find those one or two guys that the field might not be as high on, that might not be as high of ownership, but can still get you a top three, top five points finish. I mean, your Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, especially your Connor Zillich, a guy who had an amazing day over in Xfinity today. I mean, I feel like you got to remember to touch on these guys and make sure you have some exposure to them, even though they don't seem like the best plays. They'll give you the ownership that you need to have a chance to take down.
Yeah, because you figure out of these yellow guys that we have here, especially these yellow guys at the top, one or two of them is going to score really high. They're going to finish like top five, top three. It could easily be Elliott, Allmendinger, Connor Zillich, Ross Chastain. It could easily be any of them. So if you're doing like tournaments, you're doing like maybe like let's say a 20 line max, like definitely in hand building, I would get to picking these drivers up, like not in massive ownership, but definitely putting them in when you can with like the traditionally good guys.
Yep. I mean, I'm on top of that. I mean, I know I touched on it in my first little tangent there, but the guy that keeps on catching my eye, and especially after his performance today, getting 5 seconds in front of the field during his first run, then after suffering the penalty that sent him all the way to the rear, working his way back up through everyone in a total of 30 laps to get back into a battle for first place. I mean, how are we getting away from the '87 Red Bull car this weekend in Connor Zilch?
I mean, I don't think you are. I think you're absolutely playing him at tournament lines. I don't think you're going too crazy on your ownership, but like, I mean, if you're doing like a 20 lines, I mean, you figure he's going to be at least five, right? And Connor Zillich is he's going to be a pretty interesting play. I expect him to do well. I'm hoping for a top five from him. He could even go on to win the thing. I mean, he really is that talented, and he's in a trackhouse car, so his equipment's not going to hold him back by any means. The only thing that might give them some problems is just more experienced drivers than Xfinity, but he should perform pretty well.
The agree. I mean, obviously, he's an 18-year-old kid. He's not going to have the experience that some of these Cup drivers do, but he's going to be in the mix. He showed it today that he has the pace, at least in Xfinity. I mean, his practice times were good. It'll be really hard to see Connor Zilisch not contending for at least a top five at the end of the day on Sunday. Now,
Let's talk about the guy actually right beneath him, another Trackhouse teammate, Ross Chastain here. Ross Chastain is a pretty good Coda driver. No, I mean he didn't he was this the race he won back in 2022? Was it?
I think he did take it home in 2022, and I mean, obviously, as you see here, the last 2 years, he had a fourth place and a seventh place finish. I mean, Ross Chastain is a Coda ringer, if you ask me. I mean, we knew he was good on road courses, but especially with how he's been recently. Coda's been his home track pretty much. So I
And I
mean,
really like Ross Chastain as an example here of a driver that doesn't really offer that much place differential starting in ninth, but offers the ability to finish like top six, top eight, and get just get a lot of points just from finishing there. But yeah, only starting ninth, you might be a little thrown off of him, and I think other people might be a little thrown off. But I mean, do get to him in tournament lines. He's going to be, or he should be a factor. He's fast. Trackhouse is fast. This is a really good track for him. He's definitely a great play, and he shows off why you can take these guys that are starting farther up and get good value out of them.
I think that leads into another thing that we need to touch on with how we're expecting to build our lineups today. Um, so it's just we have to be okay with taking the guys who might not have the most PD, but on the other hand, they have great upside in their finishing position because we know they're great road course drivers. So they might only be looking at 5, 10 place differential points, but they're going to have a top five, top 10 finish, and I really don't think that's something that we can pass up.
No, for sure not. We definitely want to target those good road course drivers, and that brings us straight into our next section here. The little trio in the was it the 8,000 range of Alex Bowman, Chris Buescher, and Austin Cindric, who are
Yeah,
all offering a lot of upside, which is gonna make a pretty chalky field and make a pretty high ownership from all three of those guys right there.
yeah.
And I mean, you're gonna be playing them. You're gonna be mixing them in for sure. I mean, is there anyone you would like prefer out of that group, Josh?
I mean, so when you're looking at the history of this group, I mean, you have three drivers here that are starting 25th, I mean 21st, 24th, and 36th. And even if you look at their history here, they're you know for a fact they're going to beat that, and they're going to beat that by at least 10 spots. I mean, look at Alex Bowman. We have a driver here who his last three starts at COTA, he's finished second, third, and fourth. I really don't think he can get much better than that without a win. So, for me personally, with the speed that I'm seeing, I think Alex Bowman is going to have to be my favorite driver. But past that, I mean, Busher and Cindric are both great plays. You can't go wrong.
Nice, and that actually leads into our next guy here, Ryan Blaney. Was that 7,800 salary? Ryan Blaney is not a traditional road course racer. That being said, he doesn't perform that bad. He has what was that, a 12th place finish and a 21st place finish?
Yes, sir.
And he is starting 25th. But what makes Ryan Blaney so interesting is that he's in that price range. Even though price really doesn't matter too much, he's still in that range where people are going to want to pick Busher and Austin Cindric. So, getting off those guys occasionally in your tournament lines to get to like a Ryan Blaney, who could realistically get a top 12 or something, is absolutely a fantastic pivot, I think.
I think you make a great point there. I mean, Blaney's in a Penske car. He's one of the younger drivers in the field. I mean, we know he has the talent here at the road courses, and with him starting 25th with the speed he has, it's going to be really hard to get away from Blaney this weekend. Well, just to follow it up, guys. I mean, I know we're giving a lot of the high price plays here, so we're going to take a little deep dive into the I'm gonna call them the bottom feeders of the slate. These are some guys who we know you're going to need to get in your lineups if you want to jam in all these high price guys. These are just who we've identified as the top value plays of the slate, I guess. The guys who are sitting around 6,000 salary or less that we think showcase some speed, but has some stuff to go through. I mean, the first guy that I'm going to want to bring up on this list for me personally is Riley Herbst. I mean, he's a nepo baby. Him and his buddy over there, uh, Ty Dillon, Grandpa RCR. But Riley Herbst is driving over here for 23XI Racing, who, I mean, as we saw, took 1-2 on the pole this weekend. I mean, if if you're wondering if this team has speed, I don't think you have to look anywhere else. I mean, Herbst is a pretty good overall driver here too, with his last few finishes in the Xfinity Series being, I believe, an 11th and a 13th place finish today. Where I mean, he was able to overcome some adversity, some accidents, and make it through the field to get that top 15 finish. I mean, Virgil, do you have any thoughts on Herbst?
Yeah, so the thing with Herbst is Herbst going to destroy the field or is Herbst going to be a good racer? And I think Herbst will be disciplined and will naturally rise through the ranks. I'm not expecting too big of wrecks, and that's the one good thing too about like these kind of track types, these road courses, is that wrecks aren't typically that damaging, at least in history, because the track is so wide and there's so many places to run off at. So I think Riley Herbst will move up, top 20 potential. Obviously, did pretty well here in Xfinity last year. I like him.
I think you make a great point there, especially with for anyone watching the Xfinity race today, you were able to see a good bit of cars, one, two to three cars just spinning off out of nowhere, and not even being a caution flag thrown. So I feel like wrecks aren't going to be the biggest thing. I mean, hopefully our drivers aren't spinning out around every corner. But another guy I would like to touch on down here, just in terms of price for their starting position, it's gonna have to be the nepo baby himself, Ty Dillon. Um, I mean, when your grandpa's Richard Childress, I really don't think you have a choice to not have a ride. But in Ty Dillon, he's really not been a strong racer overall in his career, and we know that. But for some reason, Coda's somewhere where he's had the opportunity to run quite well. I know last time he ran here, he had a problem with an accident, but when he's running without trouble, he was almost getting a top 10 pace. I mean, Virgil, what do you have to say about him?
We have seen Ty Dillon do well at road courses in the past. There was actually a road course where Ty Dillon was running in top five, probably the greatest finish he was ever going to see in his entire career. And then I think it was Kyle Larson's brakes blew out, and he just decided that he really didn't like Ty Dillon that day, and almost killed him. But that aside, I think Ty Dillon starting 34th offers a lot of upside. His car's not that slow compared to the field back here. I expect him to be able to make some moves. Definitely not my favorite go-to play, but Ty Dillon's a good option to get down to when you want to fit like five of the upper guys. And that's really what these guys at the bottom serve. Is you're just picking them so that you can get like five good guys in your lineup.
Someone like him, who is the second though lowest salary on the slate, and Riley Herbst, who is the fourth the lowest salary on the slate. I mean, we're not picking these guys for upside. We're picking these guys for survival, so we can jam in all the studs up top.
And we're
Um,
hoping they pick up a few positions in the process and get, at least like 25 points on a good day,
oh yeah, no, we're looking for some upside. We know that they're not going to have the finishing position of the other drivers, but they're definitely going to be able to make some moves.
Yeah, and like if you can get five really good drivers and just have to spare one spot for, Riley Herbst, I don't think you'd be too mad at the end of the day. Or even Ty Dillon.
I think you make a great point there. Now, Virgil, as we look to wrap this up, I mean, we got to give the people what they want. We got to send out a core four. I mean, so like, who are your top four guys that you're looking to play? I mean, this is regardless of ownership, salary. Like, what do you think? Who do you think are going to be the top four scorers and top four most attractive picks for you on the slate?
Immediately, right off the rip, give me William Byron. William Byron is the greatest player in the pick. That is why he's $10,000. He will, assuming no mechanical issues, top five, probably top three, probably win the race. Honestly, he's really fast. He knows his track really well. I love William Byron. Next, I would probably say Christopher Bell. Right? I mean, Christopher Bell started in similar position here to William Byron, who's starting in 15th. I mean, Bell here in 19th is going to have a lot of chance at upside and runs normally at like a top 10 here. So it's just another great driver, great road course driver that I would love to get in the lines today. And would you like to take the last two?
Yeah, I mean, so I know Virgil. I'm sorry. You hate his driver's guts. You know he's a last lap merchant. Denny Hamlin has the same opinion of him, but I really don't think we can look away from Alex Bowman as one of the members of our core four today. He's been blazing fast this weekend in practice. I mean, on the first day of practice when everyone was slow, Alex Bowman somehow pulled out a sub 100-second time, which I personally didn't expect to see coming, but I really should have, especially when you see that like I said earlier, the last 3 years of starts here, he's finished second, third, and fourth. So
Yeah, Destiny's calling. Destiny's calling for that first place finish for sure. And starting 21st, I mean, that's plenty of upside. As much as I hate Alex Bowman, and as much as I think he's a talentless hack, he does run well at this track. And we gotta recognize that.
yeah, and then so the last guy I want to bring up is Austin Cindric. I mean, so guys, he started in 36 because he had some issues on his qualifying lap with his car. No one really knows what was wrong with it, at least what I got from the broadcast. But I mean, it's Team Penske. They have all the money in the world, and they have a whole day to figure out what's wrong with this car. Even if they're moved to the back for unapproved adjustments, wow, he loses one spot. I'm really not too worried about taking Austin Cindric here. I think he's a great road course driver. He's going to be a great play. I mean, starting 36 with a top 15 practice time, I don't really think you can ask for much else.
Man, I don't know. That unimproved adjustment sending him to 37th place. Do you really think he's going to be able to get around Cody Ware? I mean, come
Oh
on.
man,
Cody
I
Ware, I
know.
mean, that's a staple of the sport right there.
Oh yeah, you got that from Dangerous Rick Ware Racing. I mean, yeah, no, I really don't think we're gonna have any worry with him starting this far back. He'll be able to work his way up through the field pretty well.
Yeah, Cindric's the chalk of the day. Everyone's gonna love Cindric. We love Cindric. Everyone's gonna play him. Cash game superstar. Great guy to fit into tournament lines. Yeah, all over us and Cindric.
Yep. So guys, your final core four of the day is gonna be William Byron, Christopher Bell, Alex Bowman, and Austin Cindric. Now, don't get me wrong, a few tournament plays that I'm really keeping my eye on personally. I think Virgil is too. Could be that Kyle Larson and Connor Zilic, and can't forget about Ross Chastain. I think those are gonna be three great guys who might be a little undervalued because of the names around them. You could even throw Ryan Blaney into that wreck, so because he's right under the trio of Bowman, Busher, and Cindric.
Yeah,
Virgil, do you?
I mean these yellow names here, these guys we've highlighted in yellow. I mean, I would definitely consider getting to them in a couple lines. Like we didn't touch on them much either, but like Chase Elliott and AJ Allmendinger. I mean, Chase Elliott is one of the greatest road course racers that NASCAR has, and so is AJ Allmendinger. You know, a fantastic. Uh, how they describe him? What is it? A road course ringer? I
Yep,
mean,
yep.
yeah, he's
That's the
great.
name.
And he's been in contention to win like every road course. He's definitely a guy to mix in. It's just there might be some more exciting plays right around the corner.
Yeah, so like these are definitely guys that I think you want to get to if you're doing that 20 max, 150 max build. But if you're going through for a three entry max or single entry, I might put one of them in my lineups, but I wouldn't stay away from them as a whole. I'd only use them if if it's a break glass in case of emergency situation, or if you're really trying to go for a takedown with some of the lower ownership guys.
Yeah, I think for
Um,
like the 3 entry max, you'd probably stick to the core, and then probably like Zilich, Chastain, Larson, maybe. You think?
no, I think that's a great way to go about it. That way you can try to differentiate yourself while still getting in hands down some of the best plays on the slate. Um, well, guys, I think that's all we have here on behalf of Get Rich DFS. Please remember that we're gonna have this sheet out and an article out for Coder this weekend, out either later tonight or early tomorrow morning. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to follow us over on Twitter at GetRichDFS or DFSGet is the at. Virgil, do you have anything you want to say before we sign off?
Yeah. Please, if you made it all the way through, please subscribe to YouTube. Obviously, great support. Trying to grow this channel up, and let's go make some money.
Yeah, no, we hope we're giving you guys a pretty good way to get some easy information quick. So, obviously, at the end of the day, we want to make money. We want you to make money, and all I can say is good luck, everyone. Let's have a great weekend.